Hello, dear listeners, and welcome to our channel. Here, you'll find the most enchanting tales, woven with magic, wonder, and adventure, to help you drift off to sleep with a smile. So, get cozy, relax, and let yourself be transported to a world of fairy tales. Tonight, we'll be sharing the story of Little Red Riding Hood. Sit back, listen closely, and enjoy. Little Red Riding Hood. Once upon a time there was a little girl who everyone called Little Red Riding Hood, after the little red velvet cap she wore. She lived happily with her mummy and daddy, who loved her very much, as did everyone else, because she was sweet and obedient. Little Red Riding Hood also had a beloved grandmother who lived at the edge of the forest. One day her mummy said to her, "Little Red Riding Hood, Grandma is sick and needs something good to eat. I put cake and dandelion wine in the basket, go and get it for her. But be careful not to go off the forest path and stop with strangers." Little Red Riding Hood obeyed her mother and set off on her journey. She kept to the well-trodden forest path until she noticed red strawberries around it, which smelled tempting. She picked one, then another, and she liked them so much that she ran all over the place to pick as many as she could. While picking, she went deeper into the forest and suddenly a wolf appeared in front of her. "Where are you going, Little Red Riding Hood?" the wolf asked, trying to sound friendly. "I'm going to see my grandmother, who is sick. I have to bring her a basket with cakes and wine," replied Little Red Riding Hood. "That's very nice of you. And where does your grandmother live?" the wolf asked next. "At the edge of the forest, in a little house with a red roof," said Little Red Riding Hood. "She takes care of the forest animals, brings them food to the forest in winter and nurses them when they are sick or hurt." "Ah, so that's where I know it. And you know what? I'll tell you a shortcut that'll get you there faster. Take this path to the left and then turn right at the big oak tree. You'll see it's much shorter than this path," the wolf lied to Little Red Riding Hood, looking convincing. "Really? That's very kind of you. Thank you." Little Red Riding Hood thanked him and followed the wolf's advice. Meanwhile, however, the wolf quickly headed down the main road to Grandma's house. There he knocked on the door and imitated Little Red Riding Hood. "Grandma, Grandma, it's me, Little Red Riding Hood. I brought you something good to eat." Grandma thought it was really her granddaughter, and said, "Come in, my child, the door is unlocked." The wolf came in, saw Grandma lying in bed and jumped on her in a flash. The grandmother was frightened and began to cry for help. However, the wolf quickly swallowed her whole and then lay down in bed. He put on Grandma's hat, put on her glasses and covered himself with the duvet. After some time, Little Red Riding Hood finally arrived and discovered that the wolf's shortcut was actually longer than the main road. She knocked on the door and called, "Grandma, it's me, Little Red Riding Hood. I brought you something good to eat." The wolf, disguised as Grandma, called out in the sweetest voice he could manage. "Come in, my child, the door is unlocked." Little Red Riding Hood walked in and immediately asked Grandma why she had such a strange voice. "That's my cold, little girl," the disguised wolf said in a scratchy voice. Little Red Riding Hood headed to the bed and saw her grandmother lying there, but not only in voice but also in appearance, she seemed different than usual. She had sort of big ears, big eyes, and big teeth. How come you have such big ears, Grandma? Little Red Riding Hood asked. To hear you better, my child, replied the wolf. And how come you have such big eyes, Grandma? Little Red Riding Hood asked. To see you better, my child, answered the wolf again. And how come you have such big teeth, Grandma? Little Red Riding Hood asked next. That's so I can eat you better, my child, growled the wolf, pounced on Little Red Riding Hood and swallowed her whole. After these two hearty mouthfuls, the wolf could hardly move, and a great weariness came over him. He took off his grandmother's glasses and cap and lay back in bed, where he promptly fell fast asleep. And he snored until the cottage shook. In a little while a huntsman passed the cottage on his regular walk through the woods. The loud snoring immediately startled him. It couldn't be Grandma. Who does she have there? He peered through the window into the cottage, saw a huge wolf in the bed, and put one and one together. He went in, uncovered the duvet and looked at the wolf's bloated belly. He pulled out a knife and carefully sliced open the wolf's belly. To his surprise, not only did Granny come out of the belly, but so did Little Red Riding Hood. Fortunately, they were both alive and well. They thanked the hunter profusely for saving their lives and wanted to repay him with a treat. The hunter gladly accepted the invitation, but first he had to take care of the wolf. He dragged him out of the cottage. He filled his slit belly with stones and sewed him up tightly. Then he returned to the cottage and talked with Grandma and Little Red Riding Hood over wine and cake. Before he left, he said to Little Red Riding Hood, "You must be careful, there are many dangerous creatures in the forest. Never trust unknown creatures and stick to familiar paths in the forest." Little Red Riding Hood promised to remember that. Meanwhile, the wolf woke up outside. He couldn't quite remember where he was or what was going on, but first and foremost he had to sort out the enormous thirst he had. He crawled as quickly as he could to a babbling brook that flowed in a swift stream a short distance away. His stomach was too heavy, he thought he had overeaten Granny and Little Red Riding Hood. As he crawled to the stream, he hastily leaned over to quench his thirst. But alas, a belly full of stones overwhelmed him and he fell into the water. And so there the wicked, greedy wretch slowly sank to the bottom and could swim no more. And so Little Red Riding Hood made her way back home to her mummy and daddy. Thankfully, no more bad wolves were running around the forest. And she never strayed from the path again as she walked alone through the woods to see her grandmother, just as she had promised the brave hunter. That's all for now, dear children. Upon a hill, not far from here, a goat with a bell would appear. Its gentle ring would softly say, "The story ends with the close of day. Good night, little ones, sweet dreams."